Alright, welcome back. Now, today we're going to plough into this job. And the first job is, well, first of the big jobs is to get this all plumbed up. Just to kind of recap of what we've done real quick. This pump house has been here on our farm, well, as long as I remember. I think my dad built it way back probably in the late 60s, early 70s. And this well here is a 12 foot well. It's 12 foot deep, hits bedrock, and lovely supply of fresh water there. And the old pump has been removed, the new pump is just sitting there, needs to be plumbed in. We have this all insulated as well. I have it more or less pre-wired. So here is the two pipes. This comes up here. I'm not sure which one it is that runs up to the house. I think it's this one, and this one here is going down to the well. I'm not positively sure on that, but we're going to bring in a new feed pipe in over here, because on the far side here where the dogs are laying panned out, this is our new feed pipe going to the farm here now, coming up out of the ground. So I need to dig this over here along the foundation of this wall, bring it up underneath the ground, up here somewhere in this corner, and then bring it across and plumb it in here. So without talking any more about it, we're going to tack into this part here first, get this all hooked up. I really did need a spade. I'm going to say shovel. I had a shovel. And a shovel isn't designed for that kind of work because I didn't want to dig too wide of a hole, and getting the shovel down, well, that's exactly what you end up with. But one thing I do have is this little yoke here that I bought a couple of months ago. I seen it on another YouTube channel, and it's a digging chisel is what it's called. I find it much better than a crowbar for digging holes like that. So coming across here, I don't want to be putting on a 90-degree bend there if I can help it. I want to kind of bend the pipe in, so I'm going to have to put a hole somewhere close to the back and kind of angle it this way if we can. So yeah, there's a bit of work in it, but let's get at it. Plug. One thing you should always make sure it can go bit, or even the chuck itself, make sure you put plenty of grease in it. They must be very close. Have to be. Oh! Can you see the light? Oh, this pipe cutter go through this stuff. There we go. That's her. Another thing to do is just put some tape over the head of it and just stop any dirt and things going into it. Oh, in it. Far so good. So I want to take a wee bit of the pressure of the pipe here. What I mean is that it's not just sitting so hard on this concrete. By removing this, it leaves that there's less of an angle on the pipe. By removing that bit there, it'll allow a lot of pressure to come off that. Okay, right, so now we are ready to do a bit of work and plumbing this guy in. I'm going to set it roughly where I want it to go. I think where it is there now isn't too bad. pressure valve here is just uncovered. That's what we're going to be wiring into. And this is our feed from the well. Will come in here. This is 1.5 inches. We have reduced it down to 1.25 inches because that is what's on the old pipe that's coming up from the well. On the bottom here then we have our feed to the house. So we have a valve here which we can open and close to close it off. This will be to fill with water and prime our pump. So it looks straightforward. Let's tear into it. So we need to go with a 90 now. This just fits on there. We'll leave them loose for a minute till we see what way this is all going to work out. Alright. Alright, so this guy's going to go in here. So that will fit in there. So that's the feed connected up. There's a valve just open and close. Next thing we have to fit up now is this lad here, and I think I'm just going to get away with one joiner and just join it straight in here. So I have a fitting to put on here and a bit of plumber's tape. We get that in first, get that in place, and then we can kind of line this up. Right, so I'll fit this lad in here. So this, you might notice, has red inserts. The red insert stands for light gauge, so it's light gauge pipe. I couldn't get heavy gauge pipe, so we're just going to use like for like. Won't make any difference. It's a well. So who can guess the mistake I made? When it's light gauge, stick one of these little polys in. Stops the pipe from crushing. The connection coming apart. And that's him in. That'll keep it right. Put that back in now. That'll sit there. And this one, I'm hoping, and cut it just right that it'll fit onto that. You go in here. Come on, get in. Alright, we are connected. Did you see my mistake? Why didn't you tell me? I'm just going to wire this in here now. It's very straightforward. And then we'll fit to test it out. I do want to bolt it down to the ground as well. I want to get stainless steel bolts to bolt it down to the ground. Before I do any of that, I can turn it on. I can run it. I'm not going to run it for long because there'll be no water in it. On, it should come on. There it is. It was very quiet compared to the last one. And here we should have our lights. There we are. And this is the upper end here next to the dairy, where this pipe is. And coming up, I'm not going to cut it or nothing. I'm just going to stick this lad on it here. It's only a temporary thing so I can test it. This will be plumbed into a tank, hopefully soon. So I have the tap turned on up above, the tap that you see me fitting. Just take this guy off here on the top and fill this with water. No idea how much it's going to hold. Oh, she's still taking it, so. Is that it? Alright, so put this back on. Alright, so I told Nicole up there in the garden I'd give her a ring when I need her. So I'm going to give her a ring now shortly, but I'm going to just run it for a minute and see what happens. See if we get any pressure, which I don't think we'll get any pressure at the minute because it can't pressurise with the tap on, as far as I'd be concerned. So everything's turned on, everything's primed, everything's wired. Let's just run it. There's noise has been made. That should turn it off. I turn the valve off here, and this valve will be very same as just turn the tap off above. And after about 30 seconds the unit just stopped. Could it be that easy? Is it already drawn water? Well, the only way we'll know now is to ring Nicole, get her to turn on the tap, and we'll find out. That's a nice noise. That's kicking in straight away when I open that valve. That means the water is going up the pipe, so I'm going to wait a minute or two because it has to fill that pipe the whole way up. 500, 600 yards of pipe, so just give it a second to fill that up. Then I'm going to ring Nicole now and tell her to turn the tap off. Is water running? Air coming out, yeah? And let me know when the water comes. There is air coming out the pipe, which is a good sign. It's pumping air through the system. I'm just hoping now, Nicole will tell me in a couple of seconds that there's water coming. And the noise is changing. That's a good sign. There's water coming now. Yeah. Let the water run for a minute because the pump, I can see here, it's going to kick in now. So the pump has cut itself off. The water is running up above. There's nice flow of water coming there now, is there? Yeah. Good pressure? Yeah. There we have it. That's the first water in that well in at least well over 20 years. 95, I think. Looks quite good too. I wouldn't like to drink it, but we'll use it up for about a month or so. Start getting the water moving again, and then we'll test it. Maybe we can fit in some sort of a filtration system, because I remember this well water was lovely to drink at one stage. Screw up here, I might fit to get out. I think I have them all out. I'm just going to explain what I'm at here to you and to her. I'm just cutting loads of lines across the top of the express nail, so that when I hit it, the cap will disintegrate and fall apart on it. We should be able to pull the timber then straight out from it. Well, this top cap here is nailed down into this. I can see it here. And I can't access that from the top, so we're going to have to cut this up into pieces. Sucking diesel. Alright, we're just down here at the bottom of my lane. I have two doors on the back of this, two doors that I got a few days ago just locally, and I want to be able to bring one of them over. They're a heavy old bruiser thing, so it'd be handy if we could just drive straight over and take it off without having to double handle it. The only thing is, this part of the field here, because of the amount of rain we've got in the last few days, is quite wet, so I'm hoping if we go across this way here we'll fit to get in. Here's the two doors that I picked up. I hope I didn't damage them on transport. Seem to be alright. They're in good style, them doors. 75 euros each is what I paid for them. I think that was a bargain for two frames, PVC doors with handles, latches, everything's on them. So this one here, I measured it out, and to me, it's the one that would work here. We measured this door, and when I measured it, it looked like I was going to have to cut a lot of the frame on the top, but I noticed here when this thing was measured, it was measured with this on it, and this is just stuck on. That comes off. It's just glued on, and that's just to raise the door up. Someone must have cut the bottom of this door. I'm hoping it leaves enough room for the door to open and close. It should. Before we take anything off, we'll just stand up and see what way it looks. This one not bad. Let's see, get this by off here. That's it, just silicone on. Piece of aluminium. Alright. That's going to work lovely. A bit of coming off on the side of it, but very little. This needs a whole new wall plate because the wood is all rotten on that roof, a wee tiny roof that it is. We're also going to take them sheets off and we're going to put on an insulated sheet. when we're doing it. So we can actually raise it if we want, but we're not going to have to do a whole pile to get it right. So yeah, we're going to take all this rubbish up here, get rid of it, and have a bit of lunch and tear into fitting this. So it's more of the top than it is at the bottom. The door just isn't perfectly plumb. Haha. Very close. Well, we're going to have to cut into that wall plate. I knew I was going to have to do that. I don't mind. I'll cut into it now, just cut a notch into it just to let the door in, and then we'll come back and address this roof afterwards. But the issue I'll have is when I have it fully fitted, because this door, if you look at it, opens inwards, and it's not going to leave us enough room to get in and get in around it and be fit to work on that little pump. We don't have to go into this house very often, but you still need to be able to access it to get in and out. Now there is another way I could do this, and I'll probably get out of it, but that is to hang the door the other way around with the hinges outside. That's the pump kicking in, hinges on the outside, and that'll mean the door will open outwards, and then we've loads of access to get in and out. There's an issue here with this door, and it's not the frame. This door's not opening. But here's the culprit right here, just a wee lump. It's not going to work that way. It's not clear on the floor and it's not clear on the roof. Now we are going to raise the roof, but we're going to put insulation on, so it's not going to be that much higher by the time it's done, because the insulation will bring it back down again. It's just not going to work. This is what I'm talking about. Now that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and you can hang these doors the other way around. They still will be sealed, and what'll happen is the water will go down, it'll come out here, but usually you have two holes along the bottom. They are there, well, on the other side. So to fix that, I'm going to have to seal them two holes on the inside. I'm going to have to drill two new holes on the bottom on the frame, just to let any water that comes down here then get out on the bottom. Why you don't see this on many domestic houses, and I wouldn't recommend it by the way, is that, well, for security reasons. Your hinge is outside, so people can pop the hinge, lift the door off, and they're in. If the door is locked, well, that makes it harder, obviously, to get the hinges up. But for me, here, where I am at the minute, that's alright. I'm not too worried about that. Letterbox, I'm not sure. The seal one's on the other side, so we can swap that around. The door handle, no one's going to be knocking to come in, but sure, look it. We can stick it here and make it look like it is the outside of the door. Otherwise, yeah, happy with that. See what we're like for level. Not bad. These screws here that we're using can go straight into the block once you drill a pilot hole. And that's it. Nothing will ever move with them in. Best thing to clean out a mixer, block of water, few stones. This is an Altrad mixer. I got this when I was 16. I got it for my 16th birthday. My father actually bought it for me. Well, it came out of the creamy check, so yeah, he bought it for me. I was over the moon because that's what I wanted. Because I was doing a lot of that kind of messing about at the house and I always wanted a cement mixer. What I didn't know was it came with extras, which were in the shape of 6-inch solid blocks, which built that retaining wall the whole way around that house. So that was the first bit of building I ever done. It used to come the whole way up here, but we took that out to open up the site for that machinery shed in the future. It's not a short wall, but it was a good learning experience for me. So yeah, I don't know who got the better deal out of that one. So this is the other hole, the old hole was on the far side, so I just want to cut this old feed pipe off. See here, this used to be going up to the home house, and I want to be able to concrete this out. There we go. Just went down a wee bit. Alright, so I can instantly tell there's not enough cement on that. This here is called an edging trowel, so it'll just give you a nice edge if you're putting in some sort of a footpad or something like that. Nice little handy thing to have. Normally now, I must say I wouldn't float this like I just did. I'd normally leave it, let it kind of semi go off before I float it. That's the proper way of doing it, but I have to go milking and it's not a domestic job, it's just in front of a well house, so it'll do just fine. That's why I'm trying to finish it now. So I'm going to go ahead here and just edge it and get it finished. I decided to put a footstep in on it, and some people might ask why. Well, very simple. Known from previous times we've been going in and out of this little shed here with a wooden door, if you leave it just with soil, the grass grows back up again and eventually that ground builds back up, and it was all the time holding the door from opening. So to do away with that, I just said we'll stick a concrete step in, and it makes it look a lot cleaner as well, and it didn't take very long to do. Believe it or not, I couldn't take my eye of it once the two of them are with me, because that's exactly what they'll do. They'll get up and lie on the middle of it. They've done it before. Wouldn't mind, I don't know if I should say this or not, but Hudson came over to me there when I was in the middle of levelling that out and he farted right in my face. So that's the kind of respect I get. But it actually, funny enough, it reminded me when I was very young one time, I farted in an elevator and I was packed with people. Not a proud moment, and it was wrong on so many levels. We have an opening and closing door. Be careful. It's not rubbing anyway, that's the main thing. We have lights now. We have a pump here that should probably kick in now very shortly. Notice it kicks in and out every so often, so it's working. We have great pressure up at home. So I just filled in them 2 holes there on both sides. Now jobs that I still have to do will be here. So I need to glue on some insulation there. I'll mix up some mortar here and I'll fill that hole the whole way down as well. And then put our insulation up against that. Fill that hole. We'll be taking the roof off, as I said anyway, so not too big a panic for that. We might just stuff it for now to stop anything from going in. And that will be our pump up and running again. We've got a long way to go yet, because now, as of tomorrow, I'm going to be starting digging out a 3 metre by 3 metre base for a water tank up just beside our dairy. Probably have to sharpen the shovel for that one. And then we'll be mixing up concrete and pouring a base for that. Getting ready for a water tank to go in, then that'll have to be all plumbed up. And then we'll have to get a pump fitted into a parlour to get a washdown unit fitted for there. So there's still plenty of bit of rooting to be done, but we're getting there. Another thing I'm going to do is address this wall liner. I've been looking at this while, and you can see the way the whole ground is hollowing down to it. Anything that's in this field or whatever is going to run down into there, get trapped and go into the well. So to fix that, I'm going to take that lid off. I'm going to go up to the co-op and I'm going to buy one more liner. And I'm going to fit it on top of that, put the lid on top of that. And then I'm going to concrete right around where the 2 meet, and then I'm going to fill this area up that is actually sloped up to the top of the lid and not down to it like that. I can understand why Dad done that. Funds weren't available that time and money was scarce, and that's just the truth of it. So hence the reason he didn't put the extra liner in, but it definitely needs another liner put on it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my bit of rooting. See you next one. Oh, that's a horsefly. Come here. Get him off your foot. Horsefly, biting your nose.